If you want to keep up to date with the latest channel activity, Destiny news, and dank memes, follow me on Twitter at Radagast. What is up, guys? Radagast here, and it's Saturday, so that means it's time for some more amazing fan-made exotics for Destiny. Now, this is the only series that lets you submit your exotic weapon, armor, or heck, even ghost shell idea and have a realistic concept art made for it. Now, that's because I've partnered with the artist Benjamin Radaman, who makes these amazingly realistic exotic concepts. His DeviantArt will be linked in the description down below. Now, in today's video, what we're going to do is go over 5 featured exotics, all created from the submissions from last week's video, and then we're going to go over the proper way to submit your exotic idea and some tips for getting selected. And lastly, we're going to showcase all of the creations made since last week. However, first things first, we only take the submissions from the newest video. If there is a newer video than this one, an annotation will be popping up right now leading to that new video. Please submit your ideas there. And secondly, if you want to support this series and see more get made, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. Now, due to the Rise of Iron expansion's release in only a few days, the next fan-made exotics will be in 2 weeks from now, just to give everyone some breathing room. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, we're going to start out here with the Will of Radagast exotic artifact concept by Ravenous. Now, because Bungie is actually kicking it up a notch with the artifacts and what they do in the Rise of Iron, I suppose the idea for exotic artifacts having pretty crazy abilities is definitely one to consider. This one has the exotic perk Sharp Will, which decreases the amount of energy that sword attacks use. So now, 2 normal attacks will equal 1 energy point, which of course before it was 1 attack equaled 1 energy point. A mid-air swing is 1 point, and an exotic attack is 3 energy points, whereas before I believe it was 5. Now, that is a very interesting and, dare I say, powerful ability, being able to substantially increase your damage output with swords in Destiny by giving you what is essentially almost double the sword ammo. Now, although that does sound insane, that's nothing more insane than something like the Ruined Wings that is also basically giving you double, sometimes more, heavy ammo, and of course swords utilize heavy ammo. I do really, the more I think about it, the more I like the ability to put on an exotic artifact like this one and then dedicate your build to swords. Before it was really just putting on a sword, nothing really paired up that well. I'm sure there was definitely some combos to make swords more effective, for example utilizing invisibility to get close, but this really just outright says, hey, you're gonna get some bonuses, you're going to have an easier time dedicating your build to utilizing swords, and I like this idea. And considering swords really aren't the best in PvP, extending their duration really wouldn't be the end of the world. Moving on, we have the Iron Lion Helm, exotic Titan helmet by Donovan Hanna. Now, this is yet another mobility increasing exotic armor piece for the Titan. The exotic perk for this armor piece is going to allow you to quote-unquote pounce in a certain direction by double tapping B, very similar to what you find with the Twilight Garrison, where double tapping that button is going to make you kind of jet in a certain direction. This is going to be kind of a mix between the Twilight Garrison jet and just shoulder charging, going to allow you to just kind of, again, pounce in a certain direction. The interesting thing about this exotic is that you won't be able to utilize this, upon just spawning in. It is not like an intrinsic ability. You actually have to charge this up by running. So again, when you spawn in, first thing in a match, you won't be able to do this pounce. You won't be able to do this. You're actually going to have to start running, and running around the map is going to charge up this ability, allowing you to utilize it a few times, and then if you're utilizing it too much, you're going to use that charge up. You're going to have to run again to recharge it. Now, this charging feature is a really good feature, I think, because it completely lets you have a very easy way to balance this exotic. If this ever becomes overbearing and the mobility it gives you is too much, you just make the charge less. You make it so that you have to run more in order to charge this. If it's too weak, you do the opposite. It's just a very easy way to kind of balance this ability without actually balancing the ability itself, the pouncing ability. Really interesting idea and good, again, self-balancing feature. Although this was designed for the Titan, I wouldn't mind seeing something like this for Warlocks. It seems like Warlocks are kind of missing out on those mobility increasing exotics. Next, we have the Blade of Khepri, exotic sword concept by Ricardo Barreto. Now, this exotic sword possesses most of the abilities that other exotic swords possess: tempered light, scabbard, etc. Its exotic perk is the Dawnbringer's Blessing. Pressing R2, basically pressing the button that activates the exotic abilities for all the swords, will buff a selected ally with increased speed and recovery. You will be weaker to attacks while this buff is active. Now, we've seen a couple of these support-focused exotics before, and this is just another take on that. Being able to buff your ally, give him increased speed, which is no joke, especially depending on how much speed he's getting, and recovery, that is a pretty damn good bonus. However, of course, it makes you weaker. Now, how much it makes you weaker, and in fact, even this ability making you weaker, I'm not exactly sure this is necessary. Using an exotic ability with a sword like the Raise Lighter, where you do that massive damaging uppercut, that is a huge bonus. And being able to buff an ally, that's definitely a bonus, but I don't know if it's enough of a bonus to require you to take a negative effect. It does obviously depend on how much speed and recovery you're giving that ally. If it's an insane amount, I could see it warranting having to decrease your resistance to attacks. But all in all, again, a very interesting support-focused ability. We don't have a ton of these support-focused exotics in the game, especially if you only count weapons. We have a few in terms of armor, but weapons, very, very little. And I think that that's definitely something that could be exploited by Bungie, having more support focused weapons for people wanting to do PvE focused activities and want to play support focused subclasses like the Defender Titan or the Night Stalker Hunter. Next, we have the Tassels of Pain, exotic Titan mark concept by Ethan Barna. Now, this is a very interesting idea because it actually challenges the preconceived notions of what class armor is in the game right now. Right now, class armor, although it does help you with very small bonuses, and of course it increases your overall light level, it's not very functional. This concept completely challenges that idea by basically saying, hey, what if we did have very functional, very useful class armors in the game that actually had abilities that helped you in gameplay? Now, the exotic perk for this Titan mark is, firstly, it has the life exotic perk, allowing you to use this in addition to other exotic armor pieces, but the actual exotic perk is pain itself. On melee hits, you have a 25% chance for chains to swirl around you, damaging enemies for 5 seconds. Now, of course, this damage could actually be pretty substantial, doing something like 25, maybe 50 damage, or if it's damage over time, 10 damage every second, and actually be a very useful exotic to have. Again, challenging the notion that class armor pieces are just for show. However, it could also do very little damage. 5 damage a second, 3 damage a second, something very, very small, and just have a little bit of a use, something that won't be overpowered in the slightest, but still make you kind of work towards this exotic, try to earn it, and perhaps maybe get a kill or two in your career with it. Now, whether or not you think this is a good idea really just again depends on where you think class armor should be. Should it be an actual functional exotic, or should it just be for show? But I think the fact that we're asking this question makes this concept pretty darn cool. And moving on, the last concept we're going over today is the Shield and Sword Exotic Titan Gauntlets concept by Ravenous. Sorry you have a lot of Titan stuff today. I did not do that, I promise, even though Titan Master Race. Anyways, moving on, this exotic concept, it's going to have the exotic ability Shield then Sword. Damage absorbed by the Juggernaut Shield increases the damage of your next Storm Fist melee attack. Now, it is noted here that the increase to the damage is up to a maximum of 47.5%, and I believe that's just before Storm Fist would become a one-hit kill on a 200 health Guardian. So, interesting idea here. Very interesting idea here. If you're using the Juggernaut Shield and you take damage on that shield, it increases the damage that your Storm Fist does. Which obviously, you know, if you're getting close to enemies, if you're taking damage with your shield, you're likely going to try to make it into melee range. That's the purpose of using that shield often, is to get close, is to close the gap on enemies. And increasing the damage that your Storm Fist can do, that is very useful. Honestly, guys, I think that this exotic perk and this armor concept is so realistic, I wouldn't be surprised if something like this, basically word for word, was in the Rise of Iron. There's so many extremely useful exotic armor pieces giving you an extra grenade, an extra melee charge, really powerful abilities, and so making your Storm Fist do more damage by, in combination, taking damage with the Juggernaut Shield. Again, that's a powerful ability. I don't think it would be overpowered. I think that this could totally fit into the game. Obviously, the damage, the extra damage it gives you could be adjusted at any point if it's overpowered, if it's underpowered, all of that stuff. But again, cool concept, and really works with the idea, the thematic and actual gameplay focused idea of using Juggernaut, closing that gap, getting close, getting within melee range, and then getting a bonus for doing that. And that's gonna wrap up the featured exotics for this week. Now, if you want to submit your exotic weapon, armor piece, whatever idea, what you need to do is reply to the official comment I'm going to leave in the comment section down below. So I'm going to leave a comment saying, reply with your ideas to this comment here, and that's the only place we're gonna look for submissions. Now, that comment is going to fill up with the 500 reply limit pretty quickly, and I'll be there to make a thread number 2 as soon as that happens. Don't worry, if you're in thread number 2, Benjamin looks at both threads for ideas. Now, on to some tips for getting selected. Firstly, try to self-regulate your idea. Make sure it's not overpowered. Getting a kill and then instantly getting an overshield with like an auto rifle, that's a little bit much. Secondly, try to make your idea realistic for Destiny. Turning into a bear or a dragon after a kill is something that we're probably never going to see. Also, don't make your idea too complicated. If you're writing paragraphs and paragraphs explaining what your perks do, that's a little much. Remember, your idea is going to have to fit in a few sentences in-game, you know, if a cruiser goes over a perk and it pops up. And lastly, I don't want you guys to think I'm being too restrictive here, because don't be afraid to challenge what's currently in the game. Like we saw here, an exotic artifact concept. Don't be afraid to make exotic SMGs, laser rifles, heavy snipers, all of that stuff. Don't think you have to make, you know, the traditional gun and armor types. And the last thing we're going to do in today's video is shout out all of the different concepts that were created from last week's submissions. The first one here is the Red and Blue Exotic Dual Auto Pistols by the Flamebringer. After that, we have the Veteran Exotic Machine Gun concept by Peyton Barrett. Moving on, we have the Cursed Spire Exotic Artifact concept by Mika Bernard. And lastly, we have the Asumaru Exotic Sword concept by the Gaming Spartan. And that's gonna wrap up this week's video. I will see you guys in 2 weeks for the next episode. Now again, if you support this series and want to see more, please remember to rate and especially share this video, even if it's just telling a friend. If you want to see more Destiny content from me and don't want to miss out on the next episode of Fan-Made Exotics, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at Radagast. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.